Welcome to another episode of Frugal Finance. Today we're going to look at how to find or source off-market deals or below-market deals. So with that said, please hit the like button, turn it blue, it's just down below here. And then if you could subscribe, you'll get notifications and see all of the various videos that I post. And if you've got any questions at all, any nice comments for me or any horrible comments if you want, please do leave them in the description below. Check out the links as well. There's various links to other sites and things that I would recommend you have a look at. So with that said, let's get stuck in. So below market value deals, people often ask me, how do I get started on my journey and how do I find these deals? Well, the reality is probably the first one or two. You shouldn't be too het up on getting massively below market deals. It will probably prevent you from actually starting your property journey. So you need to remember that you're probably going to have to leave some money in the deal to start with. If you get lucky, then fine, but reality is the time and time I see people coming and going from property where they've spent so long trying to find that kind of 30-40% below market bargain, and then when they do find it, they're scared by it because it's too much work, and then when they don't find it, then they give up or they spend too long getting it. So I think the key factor is if you're at the beginning of your journey, please don't focus so much on getting all of your money back out. You're going to have to accept that you're going to have to leave some of it in. So let's fast forward to my tips for finding below market value. So let's assume that you are an investor and you've got 2 or 3 and now you want to start using the BRRRR method. So finding below market properties, refurbishing them, renting them out, refinancing, and then repeating that journey and trying to get as much of your finance back out as possible. Bearing in mind, if you don't get all your finance out, you've now got cash flow from about 3 properties. So the first thing is as everybody will probably already do, you just go to the boring old site, Rightmove. Now my tips for Rightmove are really, you need to be looking at 2 avenues. One is how long have the properties been on the market for, and really probably ones that have been added in the last 24 hours. You need to get in there, have a look at them and decipher why have those properties been there for some time. You know, the ones that say guide prices in between here, ones that appear and then disappear and then reappear and then they're on and off, and the guide prices are going up, down. The estate agents reduced the price, but then they haven't, because say it was 230 and they've reduced it down to 210, but then it's 210 to 230 guide price. All those kind of ones, you want to be looking for those, because they're the ones that obviously there is some element of wanting to sell the property. So I think, you know, if you're going to use Rightmove, you need to be looking at those things. So the next tip is getting in with the estate agents. What you need to do is obviously go around and hunt down the independent estate agents, not necessarily the bigger ones, although it is good to get in with the bigger ones as well for reasons that I'll touch on in a minute. But you need to go to see the smaller estate agents. As I said in the videos before, try not to deal with the person at the front of the office who's the junior. You need to get to the back of the office or get to the manager, whatever, and deal with the right person, and be serious and be confident about what you're dealing with. You know, if you're going to add all these mailing lists and the rest of it, the problem with the mailing lists is they do tend to get an awful lot of people like this coming into the buildings and wasting people's time, not buying property and so on, and maybe not booking viewings. They have an awful lot of marketing stuff. They have methods in place to protect them from time wasting. So you need to try and break down those barriers and be serious about it. The second thing is, obviously, if you're going to deal with some larger estate agents, they are normally quite good for bank repossessions and other issues, unusual packages, because the people that do those don't tend to go to the smaller estate agents. So I see more and more this thing called modern style of auction, where basically it's a sale, but of course everyone does sealed bids, and then basically it's kind of like an auction, and then once the price is agreed, then you have 50 28 days to complete. So sort of like an auction light, I would like to call it, or they call it modern auction. They tend to only go really to the bigger companies. The couple of repossessions that I've purchased, they have come through big agents who are nationwide, because the banks tend to go to those because that's the relationships they have. So that's that. So the next tip I would say is have a look around on things like Facebook, Gumtree, Reddit, other social media outlets, all these kind of various kind of areas where people might be posting about properties, rooms for rent, all that kind of stuff. You know, if you see someone going, I've got a flat and I can't rent it, and it's repeated all the time on WhatsApp or Facebook or something like that, there's probably a problem with that. And it may be a good opportunity for you to go in and say, look, I see you've tried to rent your property a few times and it's, you know, not happened. Would you consider selling? You know, those sort of things. You've got to do those things. So the next tip is direct to vendor. So leaflet dropping, essentially. Obviously there is a cost up front for this because you've got to have the leaflets prepared, although you can, you know, prepare some quite basic stuff from, you know, a normal printer now, and basically just leaflet drop. I know that sounds really simple and a lot of people won't want to pound the streets leaflet dropping, but that is a really good way. Go to the area where you think is going to give you the best return for your money, your target area, so identify that, and leaflet drop the whole street, all of the streets around it. You might not get any calls, you might get loads of calls, you might get the odd person calling you to stop, asking you to stop sticking stuff through their letterboxes, who knows. But that way you might find that person that goes, do you know what, I've got divorced, I want to get rid of this house, I can't sell it for what I want to sell it for, I need to get out of here, and you know, this is a solution here because I can't be motivated or afford the estate agency fees, who knows. And that might be make or break, and you've got to that person, otherwise you would never have found that person. So that's a useful tip to do. And also writing direct. So if you identify a dilapidated property, or say a property that's been on the market for ages and you can't seem to get any response from the agent, because sometimes people use weird agents who are kind of miles away and then they're supposed to be doing the viewing and it's all, the chain sort of falls apart. Stick a letter through the letterbox. You know, hi, I noticed your property's been on the market for a while. Is there anything I can do to help? Maybe a mutually beneficial agreement. You've got to remember those types of deals. You've got to go in, you can't just go in, bang, I want it 40% less than market value, because they'll be asking you to leave the front door or hanging the phone up on you. What you need to do is find a agreement that is mutually beneficial for both parties. What do they want out of it? You know, so we'll do videos on those sort of negotiations another time, but if you do get phone calls from people, don't go in with silly offers to start with. You know, build up a rapport, get some information from them, find out what their position is. If they're not in a rush to sell, they're not in a rush to sell. You can't push them. If they're in a rush to sell and they're happy to sell it below market rate and they just want to get out of there, then fine, you've hit a golden nugget. So the next one is obviously things like auctions and stuff like that, and obviously the barrier to entry is a lot higher there because you generally have to have cash. So if you can get a load of kind of investors behind you, angel investors or JV ventures, that's the kind of stuff, that may afford you to be able to go to the auctions. So you can then go and have a look at those auction properties, bid on them, and hopefully get them below market value. Key thing with auctions is obviously there's nothing to stop you making an out of auction offer if you can find out who is selling the property and who is dealing with it. And then secondly, read all the legal packs, read everything at all. There's a flat for sale, £50,000. Well, it's probably a reason why its guide price is £50,000. It's probably got a really short lease, or a really awkward freeholder, or there's some issues in the building or something like that. There's a house really cheap. Well, it's probably got subsidence. It's something. Go around and have a look at it. Look at all the packs and the rest of it. Do your due diligence. But auctions are obviously a great way of picking up below market value properties. But key fact, don't get carried away. So with that said, I hope those tips are useful to everybody. And you know, obviously everyone will have their own tips and methods for finding these deals, and there are people out there that do what they call deal sourcing, so they will go and source these deals for you, come back to you, offer them to you for a fixed price, so say £2,000, £3,000 or £5,000 for finding this deal, so sourcing the deal. But the reality is if you're starting out, you may be able to find these deals without them, or you may value their time. It depends how big you are. Obviously, if you're a big developer, you're not going to have time to start the leaflet dropping and so on, so you may have to pay a deal sourcer. So again, it depends on where you are in your journey. But so yeah, I think they're useful. Please do comment below in the description section if there's any other things that you think I've missed, or any other tricks or neat avenues that you can go down. And with that said, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel, smash the like button, check out the links in the description below. There's some offers for free money with Trading 212. You can click on the link and then you can get up to £100 worth of free shares. Please do check those out. And once again, don't forget to smash the like button, and I shall see you next time.